The way you treat a woman says more about you than it does about her. Many men hurt the women in their lives without even realizing it, not through physical actions, but through words, silence, and emotional habits. In this video, we'll break down 9 things every smart man should avoid doing to women, guided by timeless Stoic wisdom. Not to impress anyone, but to become a better man. If you're ready to grow, hit like, subscribe, and let's begin. Part 1. One mistake that many men make in relationships, and often without even realizing it, is trying to control a woman's emotions. Now, this doesn't always happen in obvious or dramatic ways. Sometimes, it shows up as subtle guilt-tripping. Sometimes it's giving her the silent treatment when things don't go your way. Or maybe you twist her words just a little during an argument so you come out looking like the victim. These kinds of behaviors may seem harmless in the moment, but they're actually signs of emotional immaturity. They come from a place of insecurity, not strength. And here's the truth: trying to control someone's emotions is not love, it's manipulation. A man who follows Stoic principles doesn't play games with people's feelings. He doesn't try to gain the upper hand through emotional tactics. Instead, he aims to be honest, direct, and kind, even when the truth is uncomfortable. There's a quote from Marcus Aurelius that captures this beautifully. He said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In other words, if your actions aren't grounded in integrity, don't go down that road. If your words aren't honest, don't speak them. Being emotionally honest, truly saying what you feel and what you mean, without playing mind games, is a sign of courage. It means being vulnerable, being clear, and being willing to face discomfort instead of hiding behind manipulation. So if there's something bothering you, speak up, but do it calmly and respectfully. If something's wrong, confront it, not with drama or blame, but with clarity and kindness. Manipulation has no place in a relationship built on mutual respect. Smart men understand this. Wise men practice it. Part 2. You see, one of the most dangerous habits a man can fall into is thinking of a woman as something he owns. It happens quietly, like a whisper in the back of the mind. Thoughts like, "She's mine. She belongs to me." At first, it might sound romantic. But if you really think about it, it's a mindset rooted in control, not love. The truth is, people are not possessions. You can't own someone's heart just because they've chosen to be with you. Love isn't a transaction. And it's definitely not a cage. A wise man knows this. He understands that real love is something freely given, not something you can demand, force, or trap. And a Stoic man? He goes even further. He knows that loving someone means letting them be exactly who they are. It means giving them space to grow, to think for themselves, to be free, even if that freedom feels uncomfortable. Now, let's be honest. Sometimes, when a man feels insecure or unsure, he starts acting possessive. That's when jealousy creeps in. He checks her phone. He questions who she's talking to. He wants to control where she goes or how she dresses. But those reactions don't come from strength, they come from fear. From a fragile ego that's scared of losing something it never truly owned in the first place. If you really want to love her well, let go of that need to control. Instead, admire her. Support her. Be the man she can grow with, not the man she needs to break free from. Because the role of a strong, smart man isn't to confine her, it's to walk beside her. To build a life together where trust is stronger than fear, and freedom is not a threat, but a gift. Part 3. There will be times in a relationship when a woman expresses deep emotion. It might be sadness, frustration, overwhelm, or something she's been holding in for a long time. These emotions can feel strong, even intense. And in these moments, many men don't know what to do. Some shut down. Others walk away. Some even say things like, "You're being too sensitive," or "You're overreacting." But here's the thing, when you dismiss her emotions, you're not just avoiding conflict. You're denying her experience. You're telling her, even without meaning to, that what she feels doesn't matter. And that can create distance in a relationship, the kind that's hard to repair. Now, Stoicism isn't about ignoring emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's not about becoming cold or robotic. Real Stoic wisdom teaches us to stay grounded and steady, especially when emotions are running high. It teaches us to respond, not react. To stay calm in the middle of a storm. One of the most important Stoic lessons comes from Epictetus. He said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In other words, when someone is sharing something heavy or emotional, your job is not to fix it. It's to listen. Not to judge. Not to interrupt. Just to be there, fully present. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Just being a calm, safe space where she can express herself without fear of being misunderstood or criticized, that alone can build enormous trust. So, when those emotional moments come, don't run. Don't correct. Don't silence her. Just be still, listen, and show her that she matters. That's what a grounded, thoughtful man does. That's what a Stoic does. Part 4. There's a kind of betrayal that cuts deeper than any insult or argument. It's when someone takes what you've shared with them in your most vulnerable moments, your fears, your past mistakes, the things that keep you up at night, and uses it against you. When a woman opens up to a man about these things, she's not just talking. She's trusting. She's saying, "Here's the part of me that's most fragile. Please hold it with care." And when a man takes that trust and turns it into a weapon, maybe during a heated argument, or maybe just to make himself feel more powerful, that's not just disrespectful. That's deeply damaging. It tells her that her openness isn't safe with you. That the place she thought was secure, isn't. A Stoic man doesn't do that. He understands that when someone shows you their pain, they're handing you something sacred. And the wise man doesn't throw it back at them or use it to win a fight. He guards it. He protects it. Even when he's angry. Even when he feels like saying something to hurt back. Because true strength isn't in how sharp your words can be, it's in your ability to stay calm, stay kind, and stay in control when emotions run high. If she shared her insecurities with you, it's because she trusted you enough to let her guard down. That's not something you should ever take lightly. So even in the heat of a disagreement, remember, her vulnerability is not ammunition. It's something you protect, even when you're the one hurting. That's what makes a man not just strong, but honorable. Part 5. There's something many men do in relationships without realizing the damage it causes. They compare the woman they're with to someone else. It doesn't always come in the form of obvious insults. Sometimes it sounds like a small, passing comment, "Why don't you dress more like her?" or "She doesn't act like that." But make no mistake, these comments can cut deep. To the woman hearing them, it feels like she's being measured against someone else and falling short. It tells her that who she is, as a person, isn't enough. That she's supposed to perform, compete, or transform herself just to win your approval. Now pause for a second and really think. Is that how you would want someone to treat you? To ignore your strengths and instead focus on what you're not? The ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "He who envies others does not obtain peace." That's true not only in how we look at other people's lives, but also in how we view our relationships. The moment you start comparing your partner to someone else, whether it's your ex, your friend's girlfriend, or even a fictional woman in your mind, you stop appreciating who she truly is. And here's the truth. Every person is different. Every woman you meet is her own world, with her own strengths, her own flaws, and her own rhythm. So instead of comparing her to someone else, learn to value her uniqueness. Notice what makes her different. Support her where she's still growing. And if there's something you feel is missing in the relationship, don't use that as an excuse to criticize. Use it as an opportunity to build something better together. Because real relationships aren't built on comparisons. They're built on connection, growth, and mutual respect. You don't improve a relationship by trying to shape someone into your idea of better. You do it by evolving together, side by side. Part 6. Let's talk about something many men quietly struggle with: understanding women's emotions. Now, it's not that men are heartless. Often, it's just that they're uncomfortable with what they don't understand. When a woman becomes emotional, when she cries, gets upset, or expresses herself deeply, some men don't know how to react. And instead of trying to understand, they shut down. They say things like, "You're too emotional," or "Stop being so dramatic." But here's the truth: those words don't solve anything. They actually make things worse. What she hears in that moment is not, "Calm down," but, "Your feelings don't matter." And when you do that, when you dismiss or mock how she feels, you're not being strong, you're avoiding. And avoidance creates distance. Every time you roll your eyes, change the subject, or walk away from an emotional conversation, you send a silent message: "I don't want to deal with your truth." But Stoicism doesn't teach us to run from emotion. It teaches us to master our own, not to silence someone else's. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, said, "Be tolerant with others, strict with yourself." What does that mean here? It means that when someone is going through something emotionally intense, when she's overwhelmed, vulnerable, maybe even messy, you don't have to react or fix it. You just need to stay calm, stay grounded, and be present. You see, when a woman expresses strong emotions, she's not attacking you. She's not trying to make your life harder. Most times, she just wants to be heard. She wants to know you care enough to sit with her in that moment, without judging, without running, without telling her to calm down. So here's the Stoic approach: let her feel. If she cries, don't tell her to stop. Offer a tissue, hold her hand, or just sit quietly beside her. If she vents, don't interrupt her with logic or advice unless she asks for it. Just listen. That moment isn't about fixing, it's about witnessing. Remember, emotional expression isn't weakness. It's communication. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do as a man is to say nothing, just be there. When you learn to sit with discomfort, to hold space for someone else's emotions without reacting from your own discomfort, that's when you grow. That's when you show her, without words, "You're safe with me." That's not just emotional intelligence. That's Stoic strength in action. Part 7. You know, one of the quietest ways a relationship starts to fall apart is when we begin to take each other for granted. And it usually doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, over time, when things become too familiar, too routine. At the beginning of a relationship, you notice everything: the way she laughs at your jokes, how she remembers the little things about your day, or how she brings you something as simple as a cup of coffee without you asking. These small gestures used to make you smile. They meant something. But as time goes on, those same things can start to feel ordinary, and then invisible. That's when appreciation fades. But here's the truth: when you stop noticing the effort someone makes, they eventually stop making it. Neglect doesn't always show up as yelling or arguments. Sometimes, it shows up as silence. As distance. And the space between you slowly grows wider without either of you even realizing it. A smart man, one who lives by wisdom and not by habit, knows how important it is to stay awake in his relationship. He practices gratitude, not just on birthdays or anniversaries, but every single day. He doesn't wait for a big moment to say, "Thank you," or "I see you." He says it when she folds his clothes, when she makes him laugh, or even when she just sits quietly beside him during a hard day. Marcus Aurelius said, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That's a reminder that nothing, especially people, are guaranteed to stay. The woman in your life isn't obligated to keep showing up, to keep giving, to keep loving. So don't act like she is. Instead, let your gratitude be constant. Speak it. Show it. Live it. Because when you treat everyday moments as if they matter, you protect your relationship from becoming dull. And you remind her that her presence is a gift, not something you expect, but something you treasure. Part 8. There's a common mistake some men make once they enter a relationship. After winning her heart, after the dates, the conversations, the connection, they slow down. They get comfortable. They stop growing. It's as if they see the relationship as the final goal, like crossing a finish line. But that mindset is dangerous. Because here's the truth, relationships aren't destinations. They're journeys. Ongoing, evolving, living journeys. And if the two of you aren't moving forward together, learning, stretching, deepening, you're not standing still. You're drifting apart. It's not enough to just be together. You have to grow together. Emotionally. Mentally. Spiritually. As life changes, you both have to adapt. If she's learning new things and challenging herself, and you're staying the same, eventually, the gap between you grows wider. That's how resentment builds. That's how emotional distance begins. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In relationships, this mastery means continuing to improve, not just for your own sake, but for the health of your partnership. A smart man keeps working on himself. He doesn't stop once he's loved, he keeps becoming someone worthy of being loved. So what does that look like? It's simple, but powerful. It means reading together. Not necessarily the same book, but both being curious, both being open to learning. It means healing together. Talking about your wounds, your fears, your past, so you can build a stronger future. It means evolving together. Setting goals, supporting each other's dreams, and encouraging each other through the highs and lows. Because the truth is, strong relationships aren't built on promises alone. They're built on progress. Not just words, but growth. Not just comfort, but effort. So don't stop becoming a better man just because you're in love. Let love be the reason you rise, again and again. Lastly. Now let's talk about something that every smart man must understand, respect. Respect is not something a woman should have to earn from you. It's not a reward you give her only when she agrees with you, behaves how you want, or meets your expectations. No, respect should be automatic. It should be there from the beginning. The very moment you're in her presence, she deserves to be treated with dignity. This means honoring her boundaries. Listening to her opinions, even when you don't agree. Acknowledging her beliefs, her choices, her voice. You don't get to pick and choose which parts of her to respect. She is a whole human being, not someone for you to mold or control. Her values, her past, her dreams, those are all parts of her identity. And if you claim to care about her, then you must respect the full picture. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Let that sink in. He didn't say, only if the person is perfect, or only if they behave a certain way. He said wherever there is a human being, there's a chance to be kind. So even when you're frustrated, even when you're hurt or feel misunderstood, speak to her with respect. Especially during disagreements. That's where your character is tested the most, not when things are easy, but when things get tense. Anyone can be nice when they're happy. But it takes a strong, emotionally mature man to stay respectful when emotions run high. And remember this, respect doesn't mean you have to agree on everything. It means you treat her the way you'd want to be treated, like a person who matters. Disagree without yelling. Set boundaries without being cruel. Love without trying to control. Be the kind of man whose words build, not break. The kind of man who leads, not by force, but by example. Because at the end of the day, how you treat a woman says a lot about who you are, not just as a partner, but as a man.